Hello everyone, Manny here, and today we're talking about BattleMage builds for Skyrim Special Edition. So a BattleMage build is all about choice. You get to choose your weapon type, armor type, and magic type. So for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the type of choices you get as a BattleMage and some key skills you're going to want to pick up in order to make your time as a BattleMage more effective and make you as a mage more powerful. So the first thing we want to talk about are weapon types. So primarily there are 3 different types of weapons in Skyrim: blades, maces, and axes. Now, because you're a battle mage, you're going to need your left hand open, so no shields, no two-handed weapons, but it's really up to you of what you choose to use damage. Normally I use a sword just for traditional sakes, but an axe as a battle mage is really good because of its R1 power attack, or right bumper if you're, an Xbox guy like me. Okay, the next choice you guys have are your armor types. Now, this is pretty up to your play style. Do you want to be fast and light on your feet, or an unstoppable juggernaut? The main thing to know is that at the very high tiers, both armor sets are really identical. You can even get the perk conditioning to make your heavy armor lighter, so that way you move faster. But you'll never be as fast as the conditioning perk for light armor. It's almost as if you're naked at that point. So you kind of want to do a bit of a trade-off. If you like to do a bit of sneak, I'd go with light armor. If you want to be an unstoppable juggernaut, I'd go with heavy armor. Although by the end, your light armor can be just as powerful. And the last choice you guys have to make is your magic type. Now for me, it was a no-brainer. I'm kind of a simple guy. I just went with destruction magic, and that's mainly because it was simple to shoot, didn't have to think about it too much. Now, I do know that in the base Skyrim game, destruction magic is rather weak, but that's not what I used it for. What I used it for is an opener, because I needed to close the distance between enemies, and archers like to shoot you, so I would just lob, incinerate, almost like a football star I used to call it, where I would literally run the incinerate in and punch it in their chest, and then proceed to cut them down with my sword. If you play it that way, destruction magic actually works out really well. And then if you go with something like lightning, you can sit there and chain lightning the whole party before you even get there. And we'll talk about some other things that you can do to make yourself extremely powerful, so you don't even notice the lack in destruction magic. Now the other choice is congregation. I didn't really use that, but it is pretty viable to summon Demora warlords to your side. In the beginning, it's a little underpowered and takes some training, but luckily it's an easy skill to train. I actually have something where I will summon Atronach and kill it. And that way I gain congregation and one-armed, or magic, depending on how you kill your Atronach. Alright, now we're going to talk about some key skills. When I think of Skyrim, I don't necessarily consider there being builds. Namely because you have to train everything. If you don't, then you end up being an underpowered character towards the end of the game. So you may not like archery, but you still need to try to use it. And there are a couple of tricks you can use to train the skills that are not really so important to you. But what we're going to be talking about now are the super important key skills. When you create a weapon, they come in at the same base damage, but you can take it to a grinding wheel and improve the conditions, and it goes in tiers depending on what your rank in smithing is. But I found that those small increases make worlds of difference. It's pretty much the difference between you not being able to kill an enemy and you one-shotting an enemy. So take the time, work on your smithing. It will pay for itself in the long run. Also, there's a really funny trick that you can do by making daggers and enchanting. So we'll talk about enchanting next. So you now have yourself a pretty decent set of equipment. You probably don't train your smithing too high, but I'd say about 25, 30 to start off with. Now what you want to do is start speaking with Farengar. Farengar sells empty soul gems for very cheap, and you're probably picking up a couple on your adventure. So what you want to do is learn the spell Soul Trap. Now, there also is another way I found that's a little easier and a little quicker, but you don't get the training, and that's having a dagger of enchanted Soul Trap, which is pretty good. You stab him with the dagger and then you kill him with your sword. But if you can, try to shoot Soul Trap, because it levels up your, I believe it's Congregation or Alteration. Gonna have to check that out. But still, shoot Soul Trap and then kill the enemy, fill your soul gem. Okay, so now what are you gonna do with your soul gems? Well, we're gonna train enchanting with them. Okay, if you're like me and you've been training your smithing skill, you probably have a whole bunch of daggers, which is okay, because see, there's a bit of a trick. What you need is a weapon that has fear, or the enchantment fear. And then you need to break down the enchantment and get the fear enchantment for yourself. Enchant the daggers with fear. And for some reason, they cost 500 to 1,000 gold per dagger. And the higher your mercantile skill is, the more they sell. By the end of the game, I literally would run around with about 4 or 5 daggers in worth of like 2,000 gold each. So I could literally just buy whatever I wanted. And that's kind of really important because of the next step, which is potions, which in my opinion is one of the hardest things to train. By the time you're working on potions, I would really have tried to almost max smithing and max enchanting, depending on how far you want to go with it. Because potions cost a lot. Namely, what you have to do is you have to fly or teleport all over Skyrim, speaking with all the apothecaries. You have to buy everything that they're selling. Make as many potions out of it as you can, and then move on to the next one, and then keep doing that and keep doing that. The only way you're able to actually afford this is by maxing your smithing and your enchanting and getting daggers that are so expensive that most merchants can't even take them. At that point, you literally print money. And that's kind of what you need, because potion training is a little rough, namely because you have to test the materials, which kind of waste them. Then you also have to test the potions, which also kind of waste them. Although you could also go online and get a guide or something like that to make it easier on yourself. It's really up to you, but there's only 2 potions, in my opinion, that are noteworthy. Fortify Smithing and Fortify, I think there's a Fortify Enchanting too, but don't quote me on that. Okay, you start with a Fortifying Enchanting potion, and then you create yourself an armor set of Fortify Alchemy. Okay, and it's Fortify Alchemy, Fortify Smithing, because there is no enchantment for Fortifying Enchantment. I guess that's redundant. Okay, so after you do that, then you make the potions again. You make yourself another Fortify Enchanting potion with your suit on, and that potion comes out a little bit better. Then you do it again, and the potion comes out a little bit better, and then you do it one more time, and you're making potions of like 75-80%, which are like way overpowered for the base game and will probably break your game if you go too high. I usually only do it twice. When I've done it more than twice, I literally had a character that was one-shotting things, and it kind of took all the fun out of the game. So once you've done that enough times, you'll be able to create really good potions of Fortify Smithing and Fortify Enchanting. And then you create your ultimate suit. So you create the suit, you refine it as well as it can, and then you enchant it with certain enchantments. And there's a bunch of stuff. I could talk about that, but I think this video's gone on long enough. You guys let me know if you want me to talk about my enchanting tricks. Like 4 pieces of 25% reduction in destruction magic gives you 100% destruction magic, so you end up casting destruction magic for free. Fortifying one-handed literally makes your one-handed go up to like 200-300 if you do it properly, because it kind of adds points to the skills. And there's a bunch of stuff that you can do to really overpower yourself, but again, with balance. Now, I will say this: the most important enchantment in the game, to me, magical reduction, or magic damage reduction, get yourself a couple of rings, some necklaces, and put that on your gear. And that keeps you from having to cast wards and things like that. Because if you don't know, you can smith yourself the best armor in the world and get one shot by a damn mage, which is bullshit. But do a little bit of enchanting, fortify your equipment, and you'll survive out there a little bit longer. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the build in the comments below. Let me know any tips or tricks. I mean, I've done this build like 17, 18 times, so pretty familiar with it. And it'll be the build for my survival diaries, because at the end of it, man, you be powerful. You be able to take hits. And we're playing on legendary difficulty, so we're gonna need all we can. Sorry for like the throatiness of me, man. I'm still sick. I'm still trying to get it out of me. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Take care, man.